Hello! Today, we journey back to the 19th century to tell the story of a man who did not just redraw the map of the United States, but redefined the meaning of liberty for the entire world. Prepare yourself to narrate a tale of struggle, resilience, and ultimate sacrifice. In the deep woods of Kentucky, on February 12th, 1809, a boy was born in a one-room log cabin with a dirt floor. No one could have predicted that this child of poverty would one day occupy the White House. Abraham Lincoln's childhood was a masterclass in hardship. His hands held an axe, long before they held a pen. At the age of 9, he faced a devastating blow. The death of his mother, Nancy. It was a scar on his soul that never truly healed. However, his stepmother, Sarah, became his saving grace. She encouraged his hunger for knowledge in a world where his father viewed books as a waste of time. Young Abe read everything he could find: the Bible, Aesop's, fables, and the history of America, with no paper available. He did his schoolwork with charcoal on the back of a wooden shovel. This silent, stubborn determination forged the mind of the man who would later face the greatest crisis in his nation's history. Lincoln eventually moved to New Salem, Illinois. It was here that he earned the nickname Honest Abe. This wasn't just a label, it was a testament to his character. When a store he owned failed, leaving him deeply in debt, he spent years paying back every cent instead of declaring bankruptcy. He taught himself the law, literally reading by the light of a fire after a day of manual labor. A salarié, he wasn't interested in wealth. He often refused to represent clients he believed were dishonest. During this time, his political fire began to burn. He was elected to the Illinois state legislature, where his moral compass against the institution of slavery began to take its final shape. America was boiling. The North was moving toward abolition, while the South viewed slavery as a sacred right and an economic necessity. In 1858, Lincoln stepped into the national spotlight during his historic debates against Stephen Douglas. Lincoln cried out with words that shook the nation's conscience: "A house divided against itself cannot stand. I believe this government cannot endure permanently, half slave and half free." Though he lost that particular election, he became a national hero. In 1860, he achieved the impossible, becoming the first Republican president of the United States. But he did not find a unified country to lead. He found a nation tearing itself apart. 11 southern states seceded before he even set foot in the White House. The Civil War began. Blood was spilling on American soil. Lincoln faced immense pressure. Some called him a dictator, others called him weak. Yet, he stood like a rock in the middle of a storm. In 1863, he made the most daring decision in American history: the Emancipation Proclamation. With a single stroke of his pen, he transformed the war from a political struggle for power into a holy war for human dignity and freedom. Then came the moment at Gettysburg. Standing over a battlefield soaked in blood, he delivered a speech that lasted less than 3 minutes. In it, he redefined America, a nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. The war ended. The North was victorious, and the Union was preserved. Lincoln sought to heal the nation's wounds, famously saying, "With malice toward none, with charity for all." But hatred was still lurking in the shadows. On the evening of April 14th, 1865, while watching a play at Ford's Theater, an assassin named John Wilkes Booth crept up and fired a single shot into the back of the president's head. Lincoln fell, and the next morning, he breathed his last. At that moment, his Secretary of War famously remarked, "Now, he belongs to the ages." Abraham Lincoln was not just a president. He was the embodiment of the American dream. The man who began by splitting rails, ended by breaking the chains of slavery. He left us with a lesson: that true power lies not in weapons, but in the truth, a clear conscience, and the belief that right makes might. Lincoln is gone, but his face on Mount Rushmore and his statue in Washington remind the world that freedom is expensive, and preserving it requires extraordinary courage. Thank you for listening to this epic journey. I hope this narration has brought you closer to one of history's greatest figures. And please, don't forget to subscribe.